just in case anything happens. So welcome, 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 Meagan. I'm so pleased for you to come on here. Another star of How Thoughts Becomes Things. And I love what you're a spiritual mentor, business coach, creator of My Flow, and the joy approach. I just want to know just a little bit about, a little bit more about Meagan, and if you can help the audience actually know who Meagan is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me on here, Sheena. This is so incredible. And I love your energy in this space right now. So I know we're going to have so much fun. So I actually came from being a yoga instructor for the last 15 years. And I spent most of that time facilitating yoga teacher trainings. And it's funny because a lot of people think, oh, yoga, you're just learning how to move. But it's so much more. And in the trainings that I taught, it was all about unleashing your most authentic self, so that you could let go of all of the core limiting beliefs and all of those old paradigms and beliefs that really weren't supporting and allowing that true person to shine. And so over the last couple of years, that's really what I've focused on purely within my clients, is that joy approach, which is harnessing our true, authentic, vulnerable self and just being in that space of confidence and gratitude and allowing the world around us to be as it is versus trying to force it to be something different. And then I also work with clients to grow their business. So like on a holistic side of things, growing their business so that they can actually reach their people that they want to and start making the transformations and be of service the way that they truly want to be as well.
I love what you said. That's what seems to come out in all the interviews I've done, is the vulnerability bit, and that's certainly something that I've learned. We had a chat before about, how we think we know it all, and we think we've got to be perfect, and that comes from being in a job, doesn't it? Whenever, you're supposed to be the all knowing person in that role. And then when you step out to run your own business, all of a sudden it's like, I don't know everything. And to actually be able to admit that, but know that you can find the answer, or there's somebody to help you.
Yes. One of my favorite places to be, and I say this all the time to my clients, is be curious. Like, it's almost like we want to take on that childlike expression of being curious instead of just taking everything at face value and feeling like we've already seen it or experienced it or done it. Be curious as if you've never done anything before, every single moment that you're in, so that it's fun, it's exciting, and you actually get to learn and take in all that it has to offer.
That is, yeah, the childlike thing. I mean, that's one thing. My memory's not so good. Which I absolutely love, because I could watch a movie and get halfway through and realize that I've seen it. But I actually can't remember the end. And anytime we go to a new place, it's just like, even today for a walk, we were like, look at these flowers, look at the trees. Because we now have the time to be, don't we, at this time? People didn't have that before.
Yes. And that's the most beautiful part about right now, is we're being forced to slow down. So we're actually being able to see, think about how many times you have walked down that path and maybe you haven't noticed it before because you've had other things on your mind, or you had to get somewhere at a certain time. Now all of a sudden there's that invitation of like, here, let's clear your plate. Let's give you nothing to do so that you can actually take in everything else, all of the universal and cosmic drama that's happening all around you, all at once, all the time.
That's amazing. I just loved how you said that. That was just like wonderful. So how come you got involved in How Thoughts Become Things? What was your journey to it? It's been such interesting journeys listening to everybody. So what's been yours?
So it's kind of interesting, actually. I had written out, when I grew up with a grandmother who was very much involved in the personal development world. She studied Bob Proctor, actually, specifically. So I grew up listening to Bob's teachings and really like loving every aspect of it. My grandma was the epitome of the law of attraction. And a few years back, I sat down with my goals, and I, out of nowhere, was like, you know what? I would love to work with Bob, not like in his program, but as a peer. Like, I've studied him. I feel like I've lived his stuff. And a few weeks later, I got a call from my publisher, and she's like, come to this event. I'd love you to come to this event with me in Calgary. You'll love the presenters. You'll have a great time. So that day I was kind of resistant, but I was like, you know what? There's something pulling me. I need to go. And I went and I met Douglas Vermeeren, and he started sharing about him beginning to work on this film, How Thoughts Become Things. And it sounded amazing. And so he had said, if you have any questions, reach out. And I did. I've just followed my gut, and I reached out, and him and I sat down and we started talking about the teachings that I offer, and it just came into alignment, and we started working on it. And funny enough, actually, we worked on it for a few months, and then I stepped back. There was a lot going on in my house and my family, and I was like, you know what, I have to focus on my family. And so I stepped back myself, and as all things that are truly meant for us, it came back around. A few months later, Douglas had come back, and he had contacted me and just said, you know what, like, it's amazing what's coming forward for the content of the film, and it's so in alignment with everything that we talked about. Would you be interested in coming back? And so I jumped in again, and it's been so much fun. It's been such a neat process. It's different than something I've ever done before. So it's been quite the journey of even the growth within myself, that allowing space again, like, right? Like when we talk about knowing what we know, sometimes we have to like get into those more challenging positions and experiences to be able to like drop that knowing and surrender into what is.
Oh, don't I know that so well? I'm actually part of a network marketing company as well. And I know that my national vice president, you know, about 3 years ago, she said, oh, Sheena knew everything. She knew everything. And it was just like, yeah, don't remind me of those times as well. So what I loved about in the movie where you talk about where, you know, we're told to cut the negativity out of our lives and cut the negative people out of our lives, and I love how you turned that whole thing around. You know, do you want to explain a bit more, you know, as to what it was that you were saying there?
Absolutely. So we're often taught, right, like to cut out those individuals that are toxic or low vibrating. And the one thing that I love to share is, first of all, we're all one soul. We all come from, if you want to call it like the universal mind or the universal intelligence, or in yoga, like I say, we call it the one soul. But we're all one soul. We're just simply different expressions of it. And so when we cut out the toxic people in our lives, we're actually diminishing the opportunities that they're creating for us, because every single person in our life is actually a teacher. They're a teacher that are designed to help us grow, to like shine, usually that flashlight on the areas that we're holding old emotions or old feelings or old beliefs still within our beings. And so toxic people, that's all they're doing, is they're giving us that opportunity to see like what our judgments are, what our belief systems are, how do we react when people say certain things. And so instead of cutting them out, we actually want to lean into it a little bit more and look at, why am I reacting this way? What is it that they're saying that is triggering something within me? And what is it in my past that I'm still holding on to that is still creating that ripple within my being?
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm going through with, you know, with my clients myself, is just that, you know, sometimes it's great, yes, to shut out the negativity so that you can concentrate and start to hear yourself. But then there comes a point where you need to embrace everything, and because it is, as you say, everything is one, and we can't have right without left, up without down, inside without outside. But we think we can just live inside without experiencing the outside. We've got to have both, don't we?
Yes. Well, and it goes back to like the law of polarity, right? One of the 12 basic universal laws, where everything has an opposite. And if we don't allow ourselves to embrace both sides, then we're really only living 50% of life, right? And then we're cutting out all of the other stuff. And there is nothing that's negative or positive. It's just how we react to it.
And then, as you say, that depends on what we're holding on to. And I think some people don't want to look inside, but actually when you look it dissolves. It's really quite weird that there's nothing, we're not scared of that thing. It's the fear itself of looking at it. And then when we turn around and look inside, you go, well, where's it gone now?
Yes. Yes. I remember a saying years ago, like what you resist persists, right? And so, and it's so true. Like whatever we work to like resist or whatever we try to push away will get louder and louder. And sometimes I'll share that, yes, we'll manifest what it is that we want or what we don't want, but we also manifest opportunities to heal. And so often we get caught up in that mind frame of like, oh, I must be focused on all the wrong things. But it's not that. The universe is actually supporting you in becoming who it is that you need to become to obtain the things that you want to obtain. So that manifestation process isn't that shiny brochure that we all get shown on the other side. It's you're going to manifest all of the things that make you uncomfortable, that make you expand, that make you grow, and make you heal so that you can truly show up where you're meant to.
And that's one of the things that I realized, that the more that you learn, it doesn't stop you from going through things. You will still go through them, because that's what's giving you your strength. That preparation then meets the opportunity. And I thought you got away with it. I thought the higher you got, the easier life got. And it's just like, oh, it still happens.
And I love that, because I think so many people get in that mind track, right? Where it's like, oh, once I get to this point, life will be easy. But life's not easy. Life is simple, but it's not easy.
So what have you got in store? What's in store for Meagan? What's the for your clients? Have you got anything that you want to share with clients that you've got coming up, or what's in store for Meagan going through for the rest of the year?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, it's so fun, right? Like I've been doing a lot of pivoting myself within my business, as everybody has with the current situation. So there's been a lot of like new programs that have been formed and new ways to support individuals. One of the big ones that's coming out right now is actually a coaching training that's very spiritually in line with our beings. So teaching the universal laws and how to utilize those universal laws and walk in alignment with them, so that you can truly be in what we call like the flow of life. So allowing life to flow through you, not just to you. And in this program, it's all about, of course, teaching all the clients that I have how to move through that, but then how to support their clients to do the same.
And that's what the most amazing thing is, isn't it? Whenever your client teaches somebody else, and then and that's the most precious thing, isn't it? Seeing that line actually move forward.
Yes. And that's that ripple effect, right? Like, and what I love, that's one of my favorite parts about teaching is I'm one person, but then when we teach those people and then they teach and then they teach, and that energy of that ripple out is phenomenal.
But I also love the saying, when one person teaches, two people learn. And that's, where, wow, do I get it? I always say to my clients, I said, this isn't anything to do with you. This is all about me. I obviously have to look at myself on Zoom and tell myself some more stuff that needs to go in, but you're getting it as well. So it's really, so what did you learn? Like you said, it was a fun process, and, like the learnings as well that come out of doing How Thoughts Become Things, the movie. What was the one thing that you really took away that you thought, right, this is what I've got from even just listening to all the other speakers as well?
A lot of it was, for me, and this is like complete vulnerability, because I totally believe in vulnerability, is letting go. Like I know that's kind of been the theme of our conversation actually today, but it's that letting go, right? I think often we perceive that we need to look a certain way, or we create these like boundaries on ourselves around how we need to show up in order to be accepted. When you watch the film, I mean, people are themselves. What I love most about it is there's times where, like, as we're speaking, the thought processes, of course, while we're waiting for the thoughts to click, you can tell because it's real. It's human beings, right? And I think that's the best thing that I learned, even though I taught that, like you just said, right? Like we'll teach things and usually things that we also need to hear ourselves in that moment. But it's that allowing ourselves to be human,
Mm.
that allowing ourselves to be where we are and accept that where we are is perfect in that moment.
I just love that. And what a wonderful thing to end on, is that we are perfect, and that, it's getting rid of the crap around the outside. And it's just like, so we can actually let ourselves shine. Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. I mean, I watched the movie. I take it you have watched the whole movie.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. It was amazing. Like being part of it, because we were all filmed in different segments, right? So we as speakers didn't really have an idea as to what it would be like until we got to see the film as well. And to be honest, when I first looked at it, when Douglas had first sent it to me, I was like, I don't know what to expect. There was that nervous feeling going on. And I watched it and it was incredible. And I learned so much myself in
Mm.
listening to the other speakers as well. Like it's phenomenal. I highly recommend people check it out.
Yeah. And it's not something just to watch once, is it? It's literally, there's a message in there for everybody. And it could be just one speaker or one sentence. And you got to listen to it over and over till you apply it.
Yes. And I think that's the best part about like the films like this, right? Like where The Secret was so successful and where How Thoughts Become Things is going to be so successful is we all resonate with different people and the way that they speak. And so having those different speakers, some of them, a lot of us speak about the same things, but we're all going to hear it differently at different times based on what it is that we need and the vibration of that person's voice.
Yes. Wow.
So
That's
it's
awesome. I love that. And that's why when certainly with Bob Proctor's material, that it's about the repetition, 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 because you then, if you listen to it this week, then and you could read something in between, but then next week you listen to it, you'll be in a different place. And that's
yes.
you're in a completely different vibration, so you're picking up different messages.
And it's so true. Like I have done that. I read books, I reread books constantly because I love going and reading, and I'll make notes in the book and write what really resonated with me and highlight. And then when I revisit that book again, I'll look and I'll be like, isn't that interesting that this spoke to me last time? But I'm not even interested in that anymore. This is what's really the meat and potatoes for me right now.
Yeah.
And it's just neat to watch that progression of growth or just awareness that comes when we actually take that opportunity to repeat or reread or relearn, because we can never know something enough to never dig deeper into it.
Yeah. I mean, that is the word, isn't it? Yeah, I know. My clients are not allowed to say that. I know. As soon as they say it, they hear me. They don't hear Bob, they hear me. Well, listen, I mean, I can just visualize your garden as well with your children and out there. So it's just, I'm going to let you get back to, to your family. And I so appreciate, listen, the time that you've taken out to actually come here. It's just been wonderful. So for the audience who are watching, it's goodbye from Sheena and it's goodbye from Meagan.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
And I'll turn the live off and I'll turn the Zoom off, and then we can literally just finish our chat there. It's just like, here we go. Stop live stream. Bye-bye, everybody. And the record.